Lil Durk might never step foot out of his jail cell ever again. Durk Banks, aka Lil Durk, known for his street-oriented lyrics and raw portrayals of life in Chicago, has spent years navigating the line between authenticity and accountability. However, though, he now faces charges that could alter his life and career forever. Those accusations? Involvement in a murder-for-hire plot targeting his longtime rival Quando Rondo. But this is far more than just a headline. It is a defining moment for an artist who's tried to break free from his past, but is now being forced to confront it, in the most public way possible. Lil Durk's arrest on October 24, 2024 in Miami, Florida was a bombshell, with authorities swooping in and charging him with conspiracy to commit murder for hire, use of interstate facilities to carry out this plot, and multiple firearm-related offenses.
New for us here at 5 o'clock, Grammy Award-winning Chicago rapper Lil Durk is facing new charges in a murder for hire plot.
These charges are no doubt severe. But the story didn't end there. A federal grand jury in Los Angeles escalated matters worse by adding 2 more felony charges to the case, effectively positioning Lil Durk as the lead defendant. If convicted on all counts, Lil Durk could face life in federal prison, a sentence that would end his career, separate him from his children, and forever change his legacy in hip-hop, putting one of rap's biggest stars on trial for his life. In this high-stakes battle, Durk's legal team has their work cut out for them, and they're up against a system that has no shortage of resources. The core of this case rests on Lil Durk's alleged involvement in a murder-for-hire plot targeting Quando Rondo, another not only prominent figure in hip-hop, but also a long-standing enemy due to gang affiliations. According to prosecutors, the motive behind the plot is revenge for the 2020 killing of King Von, one of Durk's closest friends and OTF label signee. Thus, the shooting of King Von outside an Atlanta nightclub devastated Durk, not just personally, but also professionally, as Von was a rising star with a unique storytelling ability that set him apart in the drill scene.
When I got locked up for the drama and shit, like Durk was the main one supporting me and shit, helping me. So we got even closer when I was just in jail. Then I got out. He flew me out there with him and shit. Got the rap, so me and Durk, we like.
In this indictment, the prosecutors are focusing on Quando Rondo as the intended target in California in August 2022. However, as we now know, the attempt did not go as planned. But while their target Quando Rondo survived, his cousin wasn't as fortunate, and lost his life in the crossfire of the car. This act of violence reignited tensions between Durk and Rondo, with social media adding fuel to the fire as well, with fans taunting Durk to, quote, slide for Von, a phrase that effectively dared him to get back at Quando Rondo. These calls for vengeance from fans on Twitter and Instagram weren't just empty words. They encouraged a dangerous game that has now resulted in real-world consequences.
They know the exact that put 10 bullets in King Von and he died there by himself. Why nobody slid for that nigga? So what is Durk doing? He's not doing shit.
What are you talking about? By the slide for Von comments. Still, they used to say it, but you also mentioned a song. They'd be like, I think they trolling me. Yo, by the way, them songs is fire. I ain't gonna lie.
For some reason, I just don't see them comments no more. For some odd reason. I don't know. Might be the water.
Durk's label OTF, or Only the Family, OTF's connections run deeper than just music. The group ties to the Black Disciples, one of Chicago's most notorious gangs, bringing a layer of intensity to this case that the prosecutors are eager to highlight. 5 other members of OTF were arrested along with Durk on October 24th, with prosecutors alleging that Durk had provided substantial financial support to enable the attack on Quando Rondo. From purchasing plane tickets to supplying cars with fake plates, authorities argue that Lil Durk's involvement went far beyond passive support. This connection to OTF has opened the door for prosecutors to potentially pursue RICO charges. RICO charges would make it possible to prosecute Durk not just for his direct involvement, but as the leader of an alleged criminal enterprise. This potential escalation has the industry watching closely. RICO cases are notoriously difficult to beat, and if they proceed, Durk could be looking at an even steeper battle in court. Lil Durk's path over the last few years has been one of transformation. Following King Von's death, Durk began distancing himself from the violence that had marked his early career. He collaborated with mainstream artists such as Drake, released tracks with a positive message, and even publicly committed to living a different life. His Grammy win for All My Life with J. Cole was a pinnacle moment, symbolizing a shift in his music from gritty street tales to something more introspective and hopeful. J. Cole even emphasizes Durk's new direction with this bar.
Durk, yo told me he been on some positive shit, yeah.
But Durk's verse goes even further, challenging public perceptions and media narratives that labeled him a, quote, menace. But this rebranding wasn't just talk, as Durk took concrete steps to back it up. He established the Neighborhood Heroes Foundation, a nonprofit aimed at supporting youth in Chicago, and even received a key to the city. However, Durk would quickly lose his key literally a week after receiving it, which I already made an entire video about over on my main channel. Durk's recent arrest threatens to unravel all the progress that he's made. Held without bond in Miami, his new album Deep Thoughts, scheduled for release in late November, now hangs in the balance, with no word yet on whether it will drop as planned. There's also a potential internal threat within OTF. Reports suggest that someone close to Durk may have flipped, providing clear evidence that could strengthen the case against him. Allegedly, this mole within OTF has shared texts, photos, and possibly audio recordings that could establish a clear timeline in stark detail. Adding to his challenges, the prosecution is examining Durk's music for potential clues. One song, Same Side, includes a sample of Quando Rondo's raw reaction to his cousin's death, a chilling inclusion that prosecutors argue shows premeditated animosity.
He's pulling out a man who had been shot in an SUV.
Released on the same album as All My Life, Same Side creates a jarring contrast from Durk's positive image and could end up a key piece of evidence. The charges against Lil Durk took a dramatic turn when a federal grand jury in Los Angeles handed down a superseding indictment. This new 4-count indictment accuses Durk of orchestrating a murder-for-hire plot that led to the death of a rival's family member. The Justice Department announced the indictment with striking language, underscoring the gravity of the charges and the serious consequences Durk could face if convicted. Durk now stands accused of conspiracy, use of interstate facilities to commit murder for hire, and discharging firearms, including a machine gun, and the commission of a violent crime resulting in death. Federal prosecutors have built a case that ties Durk directly to an organized plan to kill his longtime rival. Known in the indictment as TB, this longtime rival is understood to be fellow rapper Quando Rondo. The backdrop of this alleged murder plot traces back to the 2020 killing of Davon Bennett, or better known as King Von, a close friend and OTF label signee of Durk.
Responding officers returning fire while trying to intervene in that fight. 11 Live's Tasha Givens has the latest.
Well, this is an active crime scene with 2 parking lots partially roped off and GBI investigators still here on scene. This shooting made national headlines as officials confirmed one of the 3 people shot and killed was rapper King Von from Chicago, who was here last night with friends.
Prosecutors allege that Von's murder was a breaking point for Durk, spurring him to offer a monetary bounty for Quando Rondo's life and revenge. In August 2022, the indictment states Durk coordinated with several OTF associates, funding and organizing a mission to track down Quando Rondo and carry out the murder. The final act later took place at a gas station in Los Angeles, where the shooters, acting on Lil Durk's commands, used multiple weapons to fire at least 18 rounds into a vehicle carrying Quando Rondo and his 24-year-old cousin. Their intended target, Quando Rondo, survived, but his cousin was unfortunately fatally wounded.
Started in Los Angeles, California. Sheriff's deputies pulling out a man who had been shot in an SUV. Savannah rapper Quando Rondo, a passenger in that car, frantic at the sight. It all started at this mobile gas station at 5:30 Friday evening. LAPD says witnesses heard multiple gunshots, then watched a couple cars zoom off.
But this new indictment shows us a carefully outlined and orchestrated operation, as Lil Durk allegedly paid for one-way flights from Chicago to Los Angeles for 5 co-conspirators on the day before the attack. Then he also reportedly traveled to Los Angeles on a private jet with one of his close associates. This associate later purchased ski masks for the attackers and paid for their hotel room using a credit card registered in Lil Durk's name. Come on now, guys. In an attempt to cover up his tracks, though, Durk allegedly advised his associates not to book any flights under his names associated with him, highlighting his effort to distance himself from this planned attack. Got it back in blood, y'all just don't know. That's how it's supposed to be. Rapped Lil Durk on Who Wants Smoke.
Keep the folks with me. Got it back in blood, y'all just don't know that's how it's supposed to be. Call them
This multi-state investigation has been a collaborative effort, as multiple federal agencies are pooling their resources together to track Durk and his associates. Currently, all 6 defendants, including the 5 OTF members arrested alongside Lil Durk, all face the same counts of conspiracy, murder for hire, and firearm violations. And each co-defendant could face a maximum sentence of life in prison if convicted on all charges. Given the high-profile nature of the allegations and the extensive federal resources involved in building this case, this trial is already drawing significant media attention. For Lil Durk, this case is about more than just legal guilt or innocence. It's a battle for his career, his freedom, and his legacy. The man who once captivated fans with stories from Chicago's streets is now facing the reality of those same stories in the form of serious charges. And despite his best efforts to rebrand and distance himself from his past, this legal entanglement could unfortunately mark the end of Lil Durk. Thank you guys for watching, and also be sure to check out my main channel, 1111, for more videos.